The turning point in my life story, I guess, was September 11th. Like many Americans, I was pissed off. And I felt like it was my calling to get off my butt and answer the nation's call. I wanted revenge, and I wanted it now. And that's what I did. I deployed in the initial invasion in 2003 with the 101st Airborne Division. You know, there's always good, there's always bad, there's always ugly, and there's always even uglier. When that first bullet flies over your head, it's unmistakable. It kind of all sinks in, and you know that, you know, at any time, your number could be up. In 2005, I became an Army Scout Attack Helicopter pilot. We provided close air support to the ground troops. I was flying a mission in northeastern Iraq when things went to hell. I was at 200 feet in a hard left bank. You know, one thing led to another, and bells and whistles were going off, and the helicopter was falling out of the sky like a rock. I knew my leg had a sharp pain in it, and I remember reaching down, my hand was all bloody. My boot was laying there with my calf was sticking out of the top of my boot. So I was cut off clean below my knee. Both my tibia and fibula were both shoved through the top of my knee, so I had an open knee dislocation. 9 fractured vertebrae, crushed pelvis. My spine was completely detached from my pelvis. Left hand shattered. My left middle finger was partially amputated. Multiple facial injuries. Eye socket was broke. Nose was broke. Once they did get me out, I believe that's the first time that I died. I flatlined twice on 2 medevac flights. They said I won't walk again without a cane. That I won't walk again without crutches. I'll never fly again. And you know, you start thinking negative thoughts like that. I mean, your whole life just kind of turns negative. You know, I'm not going to be able to go play soccer with my daughter anymore, or my son, play football with my son. Oh, I was really, you know, in a very bad place. I was depressed, and it was the toughest thing I've ever had to deal with in my life. My family wheeled me out into the hall in the hospital, and just so I could look out the window, and there was another soldier out there that was burnt 90% of his body doing the same thing. And I remember looking at him, and I knew at that moment that I had no reason to be mad at anything. I had no reason to bitch because I was alive, and it was up to me to pick my ass up and do the best I could do. The first time I put on that leg, nothing felt right. It just felt, it felt like I had 2 left feet. And I couldn't get the feel for it. You know, I'd try to take a step, and nothing worked. It was frustrating as hell. I always wanted my kids to look back and say, damn, look what my dad went through. I can do anything. And I think that my kids were really what got me through the hardest times.
For people that go through life that complain and they let things hold them back and stop them, you know, hang around with Patrick for an afternoon. You know, all those things that used to bug you, when you see him and you look at what he's gone through and what he's overcome, and you'll stop feeling sorry for yourself. You know, I told my wife when I get up in the morning, my knees don't hurt anymore when I'm around Patrick.
Everything arises in our lives, usually the big things, is when we need it the most. I got a call from Chad Hall about hunting sheep. I remember him asking me if I thought I could do it, because you lose your knee, that's a major joint, and it's tough to get around on level ground, let alone the mountains. He asked me if I thought I could do it, and I was like, hell yes, I can do it. And I had no idea. I didn't really know what it entailed. I'd never really been around the mountains or been up the mountains or anything like that, you know. I never experienced that, but I knew I wasn't going to let anything stand in my way of trying. The next day, I started. I had a new sense of motivation. This was my next task that I had to accomplish, and I started busting my butt. You hunting is just a very small piece of my recovery process. It's just being outside and pushing myself to the limit and doing stuff that nobody thought was possible with missing a leg above the knee.
I've been tried and I've been tested, but I won't back down, no, I'll never surrender. I've seen the proof, I know the truth, this is what I was made to do, I was born for this.
Mountain hunting it's really gave me something to really look forward to and push myself. We had been trying to figure out how to get me to New Zealand, and because I knew New Zealand was steep and I knew it was difficult, and finally Zion and I lined it up to where I was able to go, and I'd put in the time to get off work, and I'm going. It's and that's kind of the excitement of doing these bigger hunts like this too. It's that unknown, going into the unknown and not knowing what to expect.
It's more than just a feeling, I was born for this. Baby, I was born for this.
I met Pat a number of years ago at the Wild Sheep Show in Reno, and we hit it off straight away. There's a lot of things about this hunt that made us want to put it together. I knew that he would love this hunt in New Zealand. Tahr and chamois are incredible animals. It's incredible to watch them as they navigate through the bluffs and the mountains. They're amazingly agile, they're very alert. They're still a very challenging animal to hunt and just beautiful to watch them in their natural habitat in the mountains. 70% of the South Island is mountainous terrain, and it's very steep, challenging terrain, but that's where our alpine animals, the tahr and the chamois, live, and that's where we have to go to find them.
That was badass.
Pretty
man.
fun. I know I've said it before, but welcome to my office. A number of times his legs was popping off, there was slippery terrain, his boots fell to pieces. Time and time again, it was like, argh.
I think that I had a little bit of bad luck, as my boot, the sidewall has ripped out, so my feet are cold.
Your foot, you mean?
I mean my foot. My foot is cold. Ready to get this day started.
Flatten them. Oh,
thanks, man.
Well done, man. Long time we've been dreaming about that moment.
It's going to be a long time getting to it, too.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, at least
Hunting is not about the kill. That is a very fractional portion of what we do. It's the experiences that you get to experience with friends and family. So, just the sights that you get to see, that once-in-a-lifetime view, that's something that you're never going to get to see again. And that's the stuff that I cherish.
Life's worth living, and he's a good example. This is what life is. He lives it to the fullest. We all should, because we're all going to have tough spots in our life. We're going to have to figure out how to get through them.
So I get this question a lot. If you could go back and change your accident, or if you weren't in the accident, where would you be? The answer is I don't know, don't care. That accident is a part of me. It's helped define who I am, and I wouldn't change one thing that happened to me, not one. The measure of who we are is what we do with what we have. I read that quote shortly after I got hurt, and I've tried to take that quote to heart. With everything that I went through, with all the challenges that I face, at the end of the day, nothing is going to define me but me, of what I do and what I continue to do with my life, how hard I'm willing to push myself. To me, that quote says it all. Everybody should live by it.